This is the USMLE Sarthi team, and with our monthly Facebook Live, so to answer your questions. And what we wanted to do today was take up some questions that we already received. The first question in this monthly session is, as you can imagine, a lot of people have questions around the ECFMG certification, the OET exam. So what is this OET exam? And as you may all know, ECFMG has one of the pathways, one of the 5 pathways that ECFMG has come out after the COVID-19 issue, because the CS was suspended, and as part of that is the OET exam to satisfy the English language proficiency requirement. And to meet these requirements, applicants must attain a minimum score of 350, which is a grade B, in each of the 4 measured components of the OET exam. So it's listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Then how should I study for it? When should I take this exam? All those kind of things. ECFMG has provided a link, and it gives you detailed descriptions of the steps involved, when to expect the results. The centers in the US are limited, but there are centers apparently in other countries as well. So this is something you will have to go on the ECFMG website, and I think we are one of our team members is going to post the links as well. And yes, you can ask questions here. I am going to first go over the questions that we received. So if you will give me some time, I want to just finish off those questions. The other question is, do I need ECFMG certification before October 21st with all this uncertainty that is going on? So the answer is no. Most programs will not require a candidate to possess ECFMG certification, at least not in this season. Typically they will be more lenient, and they will likely require, whether you have OET or not, they will require those kind of things before the match day. It is important to remember that the people with more complete application, like all the exams done, step 1 CK, CS, step 3, probably may have an advantage. This season is different than the previous seasons. In the previous seasons, yes, you could see some programs wanting ECFMG certification at the time of application. That is not going to happen this year for most programs. Then we got questions around telemedicine. What is telemedicine? Is it useful? The rotations, is it as useful as on-site rotations? So probably you all have realized by now, telemedicine refers to the practice of caring for your patients remotely when the provider and patients are not physically present with each other. Again, something that has been increasingly evident and prevalent since COVID-19. Of course, now we have modern technology that enables you to consult with patients and being compliant with HIPAA and all other guidelines using the video conferencing tools. Now, what is a telemedicine rotation? These rotations, of course, have become an integral part of the USMLE experience healthcare system in the US now. Even AMGs are doing tele rotations. So for IMGs, it does provide a flexible option to attain your US clinical experience in spite of restriction on inpatient hospital rotations, your travel, because many countries are still under lockdown and so on, the safety issues around COVID-19. So there are opportunities to acquire these experiences and LORs, and some of them are on our website. So if you go to our website, you will see the physicians we work with who provide these kind of experience. So feel free to visit our website. Then the next question we get is telemedicine as useful as on-site rotation? And the simple answer is they serve different purposes, and it may not be as useful. But the question you need to ask is, what are your options? What do you need in your profile? What are you targeting, right? So obviously, if you have on-site electives, recent rotations, inpatient hospital experiences before March, that obviously is golden. You have it, right? And then you get down to, say, a clinic affiliated with a residency program, outpatient rotation, those kind of things. They are also very useful. But assume if you have a lot of gaps, you have no USCE, you have only home country LOR, then what do? Then in that case, tele-rotations become very important. Remember what the programs want of you as you go into the match is, come July 1st, they want you to hit the ground running. It could be your ICU rotation, it could be your floors, whatever it is, right? So they will not have time to train you. So they want you to be comfortable with, say, EMRs, evidence-based medicine, US system of healthcare. And in these cases, tele-rotations do provide you that opportunity that you can use. Again, the intent is different. You got to understand where you stand. Do you really need it? If you need it, then yes. If you want to cover your gaps, if you want to really understand the US healthcare system, tele-rotations are a very viable option if you cannot travel. Can I use LORs from previous cycles? And again, as you know, most rotations, inpatient, electives, etc. have been cancelled, at least in the hospital setting. Now, programs will understand if your LOR is, say, 6 months old or so. As long as, so March, COVID happened in March. So prior to that, if you have the LOR, that's fine. But if your LOR is more than 12 months old, then probably you want to, like I mentioned, consider telemedicine rotations. Or if you are in the US and you can travel, there are several rotations which are still open or opening up, say in Houston, in Detroit, in Chicago. So look at those. Again, check our website if you are interested. Next question, is it worth applying with only home country LOR? So it is related to what I just answered. It depends on your profile. If you, for example, are a recent graduate, very high scores, absolutely you can. Old graduates with very high scores, say 250 plus, should also give it a try if you only have home country LOR. But assuming as an old graduate you have very good home country experience in primary care, say resource constrained environment, then it can be very, very useful. You should go for it. This is, like I said, and you all know, uncertain season. Even programs are not clear on what profiles they will get. But one thing they always know and they understand is the scores. Scores are very quantifiable, very comparable. So if you have good scores, absolutely you should apply. Some of the questions we are getting, is there a thing called LOR for a couple? No. Like if we want to apply as a couple, will we get one LOR with both applicants' name? No, absolutely not. LOR should be for the individual applicant only. There is no LOR as a couple. You're not paying. When you get an attending, you're not getting paid as a couple, right? So you are an individual physician. So there is not an LOR for a couple. Can we take step 3 after OET if applying for next year's match cycle? I'm not sure what you mean by next year's match cycle. As of now, for this upcoming cycle, ECFMG hasn't really come out with the step 3 requirements for OET. So for this cycle, I don't think you can take step 3 after OET. Next year, we don't know yet. CS has been suspended for 12 to 18 months. We'll see what they say for next year. What weighs more between LORs from clinic in the US in this COVID season and home country LORs? As I mentioned, the clinics, if they have residency programs and if you've done some good work here in the US, absolutely golden. Home country LORs tend to be very generic, very templatized, unless you work in a very busy hospital, in a very well-renowned hospital, then probably that can cover it up. If you're a recent graduate, home country LORs absolutely can work. How can we take step 3 with just step 1 and CK? I don't know a way to do it, without certification yet. Wait for ECFMG. How much research increases the chances in matching? Research is part of your profile. It is part of the portfolio, and we have several videos which says what all goes into the math. So it is this course, it is your US clinical experience, it is your research, it is your year of graduation. Research absolutely is very critical. Again, if you have no research experience, if you're an older graduate, it will definitely help you more. Research in a US setting, if you are able to publish in PubMed Index journal, is very powerful. Of course, we have only 3 months remaining now, so there are several conferences that are coming up, like the American Society of Hematology, couple of neuro conferences. So your best bet at this point would be to try and get poster presentations in, send those kind of things to these conferences. If accepted, you can also use that as research which has been accepted. Our students have been doing it, and this can be very powerful. Will a hands-on rotation be better than a tele rotation even in the current circumstances and everything else being equal? The answer is yes. If you are going in a hands-on clinical setting with a residency program letterhead, 8 hours a day, yes, that will be very, very useful. Which year of graduation is considered recent graduates? Typically up to 3 years. So different programs have different definition. Some will start saying, okay, you are starting the residency in 2021 July, so -3, 2018 year of graduation is recent. Some will say the date of application 2020 October, so they will say 2017. So between 2017 and 2018 you are definitely recent. Which LOR is better, strong personal LOR from home country or LOR from telemedicine? I think it depends on a lot of factors. In general, your learning and your contribution really makes a difference. If telemedicine is from a renowned US physician with affiliation with a residency program, and hopefully they can call for you, that will be much better. I'm an ECFMG certified applicant. Your website said 30% chance of matching in IM. I think you're talking about the probability calculator. So the probability calculator takes into account your scores and other attributes. So try using that calculator on our website. I did not take step 3 yet. Any other specialty should I consider to apply outside of IM? Again, I haven't looked at your profile. Depending on the scores, depending on your previous experience, depending on year of graduation, a lot of things can come up. Family medicine would be one, pathology, neuro, depending on your research, psychiatry. Hard to say without looking at the profile. Is it worth applying for FM programs even if you're an old graduate, since programs are like recent graduates? So good question. FM programs are veering towards more DO applicants and recent graduates. They do not like to do visa nowadays. But if you don't need a visa and you have a lot of experience in preventive medicine and OBGYN, FM is still worth a shot. If you are working in Europe, European experience is very powerful, as I think you are. So, you can try. So directory of open access journal research is valuable. Again, look at the hierarchy. Nothing is better, or something is better than nothing. So at this point, do what you can. Is it advisable to travel to US for hands-on rotation presently with respect to safety and probable flight issues? So you got to take your own decision on safety, right? There are residents, there are attendings who are already working in the COVID environment. You can make your own decisions. Flight issues, again, flights are coming in. Our students have come in on B1, B2, that much I can tell you. They are rotating. It's a very personal decision. If you don't have any rotations, probably maybe worth the risk, but you are the person who can decide for yourself. There is no neurosurgery telerotation, then which telerotation should we choose to apply for neurosurgery? Neurosurgery tends to be a very, very competitive branch. You got to really work with the programs. I really don't know if there are any telerotations in neurosurgery. Probably look at a combination of some surgery telerotations, maybe some neuro telerotations. Other important question, and I can completely say this as a yes: will there be virtual interviews this year as widely discussed? Yes, absolutely, there will be only virtual interviews. Many specialties have already said this. This is a recommendation, but most programs will make this decision. If they have not made it, be prepared for virtual interviews. I don't think any program is going to risk on-site interviews. A lot of liability issues can come up. We are already geared up for virtual interviews. We are preparing our students as always for virtual interviews. I don't think you should wait for any formal communication unless there is a miraculous kind of stoppage of COVID-19. Doesn't look likely. I think this season is all virtual. I don't have hands-on rotations in the US, but currently working in a hospital in India. Will that be good enough? Again, I don't know. Don't know your scores, don't know your profile. If you're an old graduate working in a hospital in India, probably not. Home country residency from Egypt, is it beneficial in CV or not that important? It is absolutely important. Home country residency, I've seen we have students every year, India, Pakistan, Egypt. Absolutely beneficial. This will be your ticket to residency if you play it well. Can we come to US on B1, B2? A lot of students do. What will we tell immigration? Again, visa is not the focus of this, Facebook, like we are not visa attorneys. Immigration issues vary with the students, with the country. All I can tell you is there are a lot of students who come into US with B1, B2, whether they are for step 3, whether for rotations, that's a personal decision. That and other question, is it worth mentioning unpublished research, accepted research, or local audits done in hospital as part of research? So there is a section in ERAS where you can say accepted or published and all that. Yes, so you can do that. If you did it as part of your US research experience, you can absolutely also mention it. Now let me go back to some of the other questions we received over email, WhatsApp, etc. Earlier than the season or than this session. Do clinic LORs matter? In general, the hierarchy is hospital, inpatient rotations, electives. Those LORs tend to be very useful. Then hospital affiliated clinics on hospital letterheads. Independent clinics are next on the list of hierarchy. Better than nothing. So yes, clinic LORs can matter if you don't have anything else. What actually matters in an LOR? This is an important question. Like you may have seen other videos which we put out. Look up our YouTube website or YouTube channel. Personalized LORs are very important. What does that mean? It means identifying 3 to 4 skills which you may have demonstrated, and these need to be backed up with specific examples, whether it is the clinical skills or acumen, patient interaction, patient counseling, empathy, decision making, teamwork. So look for those skills that you have demonstrated. Many applicants just write a laundry list, or their attendings write a laundry list of these skills. That is a totally generic LOR. That is not useful. Don't waste your time on it. Many IMGs are obviously asked to write their own LORs. We review at least 500 LORs a year, right? Whether you do that or you're requesting an LOR, focus on those comprehensive 3 to 4 skills with examples. We do have classes, we do give complete guidance on LOR, so look up our classes if you need more help. But without the examples, specific things that you discussed, LORs can tend to be very generic. Similar question on PS. How can I make unique PS? How can I make it stand out? So think of a story, right? And I think a video on this as well. Each story is different. Each journey, your USMLE journey, is different and unique. Look up that video where we explain step by step. If you cannot write a story, think of it in 5 paragraphs. Each paragraph should answer a question. But in the end, the most powerful PS is your own story that will help you stand out. The user has to be engrossed. They really need to think that they want to read your story. So look up on that YouTube channel. I think we have it, a 5-step process that will help you. If you need more help, happy to talk with you. How long should the PS be? Again, very common question. PS, as you know, is a summary of who you are in the context of medicine. Program directors won't spend more than 2 minutes on your PS. So PS needs to be very simple, well written, error free, between 750 words to 800 words. PS is going to play a more prominent role in this season. Every PS is always read, whether they read it before they invite you or after the invitation. PSs are always read. Okay, so understand that. What should I do until October 21st? So in terms of next 3 months, what the roadmap should be, important questions. Rotations, if you are in the US, nothing beats rotations. If you're already working, that's a good sign. If you're already in research, that's always good. If you're not in the US, like I said, consider tele rotations. Keep working in your home country if you cannot travel. Those will be important. Start program research. In fact, today we had a class with our students on program research. What all is needed? How can you research the programs to apply? How do you find out more about these programs? How do you reach out to the programs? So research about the programs. Start making your own list. If you need help, again, we have a customized list for our students. So that making that list to reach out to the programs is important. And then, research, like I mentioned in the earlier part, is important. So talk to your peers, inquire if you may participate in some form of research writing, whether it's poster presentations or manuscripts, although manuscripts will take time. So those would be some of the things: rotations, tele-rotations, program outreach, program research, and research in general, targeting some of the upcoming conferences in your specialty. Is research important? I think I have already answered this. Research experience, especially publications, tend to be very, very important. They will play a vital role. Don't think that a community program will not look at it. They will absolutely look at it. They play a vital role in selecting a candidate, for interviewing and ranking the candidates. Okay, so yes, research is very important. Step 1, now some students are giving their profile, so I'll just answer some of those questions. Step 1, 241, CK is 250, 2 tele-rotations, 1 from home country. Should I apply to IM or EM? Absolutely, you will have a very good chance in IM. EM, we'll have to see emergency medicine, but absolutely, with what you have said, IM is a sure shot. IM completed residency from Europe, completed MRCP and UK and Ireland make you a better candidate? Absolutely. European residency, you should have no issues at all. Will there be a distinction in the mind of PDs for step to CS and alternate pathway? Everything else being equal, if you have step to CS and assuming you are certified, yes, I guess program directors may consider this as better. But again, they are looking at it for the first time, as all of you are. Like I said, in general, yes, but let's wait. Other parts of the profile will matter. Scores will absolutely continue to matter. Just because you have a 210 and you are certified may not be as important as someone with a 250 and no CS. How do we assess our waived LOR quality from university hospital? Good question. I think if you have not seen a draft of it, you have to go back to your experiences and see what was the rapport with the attending, when did you get the LOR. Hard to say, but as long as you have worked with your attending and said, this is what I did, this is how I added value, these were examples of what I did. If the attending knows it, I think you can be certain that it will be a good LOR. A few words of advice for couples matching, especially old graduate and in internal medicine. Would you recommend it worth a try? So couples matching, you don't have to take a decision right now, right? You can still apply through ERAS. I don't think you need to make a decision now. My recommendation, our team's recommendation has always been, if one of you has lower scores or a weaker profile than the other, it becomes very hard to match as a couple. One of the ways would be to start applying in the same city, same geographic location. As you get the interviews, then you can discuss with the programs. Every year we have a lot of students who are trying couples match, and things are different, so I have to look at the profile. What are the chances of matching if applied late this season? Chances would be lower, right? How much lower depends on when you apply. We have always promoted applying on day 1, October 21st in this case. Programs will get 3,000, 4,000 applications on day 1. So if you're talking a month later, who knows? It depends on the profile. But yes, chances will go down. Chances for an older graduate with huge gap in clinical practice, good scores, US citizens, hand-on clinical experience. US citizen, again, depending on which specialty, if you have a huge gap but good scores, probably IM will still be okay if you have excellent hands-on experience in the last 1 year or so. Otherwise, yes, it becomes difficult. You will have to take step 3. You will have to probably do some research. You probably cannot cover what has already happened in past. Is it possible to match at a program without connections in conventional sense? Very important questions. Every year we get it, and the answer is yes, absolutely yes. A lot of students think the definition of connection is my uncle, aunt, spouse in that program. That is not the definition of connections. Definition of connections is professional network. Whether you meet them in conferences, whether you've rotated there, etc. But even then you can match. 90% plus students have matched without connections. Connections are not a must. They can help you get the interview. But yes, it is not a must. Most of you will match without connections. How many US LORs will be enough this time? Again, hard to say. The more the merrier. 3, 4 is obviously very good. Will one tele rotation, one home country LOR be okay? We cannot tell you whether they will be okay or not. Like I said, scores will matter, year of graduation will matter. Think of it as everything put together. You have a 250 plus in both steps. You are a 2019 graduate, maybe not even one US LOR. Maybe everything home country will do. You are a 5-year-old graduate with no US LOR, hard to match. Good scores and recent graduate, would it be advisable to mention research in fields like pathology, community medicine with no research in IM? Research is always useful. I think the trick is to see what are the transferable skills that you bring to IM, right? Whether it is ability to analyze data, whether it's ability to gather the data, primary data gathering, hypothesis generation, etc. So you will have to, couch it that way. But yes, research will be very useful as long as you can balance it in your eras. How can we have our application not filtered? At times with their criteria, application is filtered. Interest emails do play a role. We work with our students on some of these issues. But yes, interest email and, trying to tell them what you bring to the table is always very useful. But there are times that you will be filtered out with all this, right? So you write to 100 programs, maybe 10 will respond to you. What should be the impact factor of a journal if research is to be published outside US journal, a good repo journal? So again, if you already have a research outside US, don't worry about it, mention it in eras. What is the impact factor? Again, don't worry. If you have, with 3 months to go, do what you have with your research. Obviously, US research is more impactful. PubMed indexed is better. But at this point, don't worry what is the impact factor. You either have it or you don't have it. How do you mention home country residency in the RAS application? You should mention both, maybe in education and work experience. There are multiple ways to do it. What to write in an oral presentation? Can we write a topic presented during a seminar? That's not really research. If you have orally presented during an elective, so probably write as part of that electives experience. Research is if in a conference it has been accepted as an oral presentation. Will passing step 3 before application help in receiving interviews? Absolutely, especially for older graduate. Yes, it will definitely help, especially in internal medicine. Yes, step 3 will definitely help you. What if I get a strong LOR after applying in October? How can I convey it to the program? This is a tricky one. If you have already applied, most programs would have downloaded your application in October, assuming October 21st. How can you convey it to the program? You can send them an email saying, I have another email, I have another LOR, I'm sorry. And if you have already assigned 3 LORs to them, assign the 4th one, probably they can download. If you have already assigned 4 LORs to the program, there is no way you can, they can do it. Home country research experience without publication, but papers were discussed in conference. Yeah, write it. It's not going to be a deal breaker or deal maker for you, but something is better than nothing. Will there be any difference between home country LOR from a US MD certified but currently working in home country, or home country LOR from local physician? Yes, so a home country LOR from a US certified physician is going to be, more impactful, than, like you say, a local physician. Can we mention internship under work experience in ERAS? Many countries have internship as a requirement for degree, like in India. So that's a degree requirement. Other countries do not have it. I think Pakistan does not have internship as a requirement. Whether you mention it or not, they, program directors understand what this is. If you feel good about it, you can mention it, but they will figure it out. On an average, how many programs should you apply to? Knowing your weakness as an old graduate, average scores. Would you recommend taking a realistic approach, applying into program whose acceptance criteria matches your CV? Again, depends on the visa you need. If you need visa, depends on the score. Older graduate. One, of course, is a financial consideration, right? $26 a program, beyond all that. So look at that. If finance is not a consideration and you know your weaknesses, you are an older graduate, apply broadly without geographic limitation. If they have step scores requirement, You can add 10 to your score and see where you land. But a simple answer is, if you have your weaknesses, apply to as many programs as you want or you can. But remember, program outreach is important. Researching the programs is important. We have extensively discussed it today with our students. Blindly applying to programs is not going to help you. That is absolutely throwing your money down the drain. But yes, if you do not have time to research the programs, just you could do that. Should I assign 4 LORs if the program asks for 3? It's up to you. If you have 4 strong LORs and you cannot decide, yes, you can assign 4. They will read all 4. So 4 LORs are there's nothing wrong in 4. They will read all 4, and it's not that they will randomly read only the top 3. Okay, good. Let me take a breather here. Many questions, so I'm gonna wait. So I'm gonna just wait. Let me see if there are more questions on WhatsApp or Telegram. If not, I'll wait a few more minutes. If you have other questions. So how are those of you who are on visa outside the US? What's the general sense? Are you guys apprehensive? Are you gonna apply? What's the general sense with the applicants this year? I just want to see what you guys are thinking. All right, more questions are coming in. What do you look for program? What do you look when you're researching programs? If you're asking about how do you research programs for applying, obviously, there are various sources. There is FRIDA, there is Residency Explorer program website. We have our own list. You can look at scores. They are very powerful filter. Year of graduation is a soft filter, but then important one. Visa is a very strong filter. If they don't do visa, don't accept J1, those kind of things. So look at top 3 or 4 criteria. We have customized our list with these kind of criterias. Rest, at the time of application, you don't need to worry about the size of the program, the salary, etc. That's not important. Does home country medicine residency help for interviews? Absolutely, it will help. Home country, every year we have several students who have home country experience. We help them match. It's your ticket to residency, as I told you. Step 1 score 260 plus, open chances for getting better observership. Absolutely. If you are in the US, if not, hard luck. But 260 plus is a very good score. How do I get an opportunity for poster presentation in the US? Very good question. There are these conferences, like I said, 2 upcoming conferences that I am aware of. American Society of Hematology, ASH, and Strokes Conference is neurology. There may be others. You just have to, look at their criteria, work with your peers, and send abstract for presentation. Our students have done it. We have had over 100 students do research this season. Very proud of them. Probably you can also do it. If we won't be able to get step 2 CK score back in time, is it worth applying this cycle? Can we send in later? It will depend. In general, it'll be hard, but let's say you're a 2019-2020 graduate with a step 1 of, I'm making it up, 250. Absolutely apply. Tell them that you're getting the CK score in 10 days, whenever you are. It will depend on your profile. Recent graduate, very high step 1 score, you should apply on time. Last year or every year we have had students say from AIMS in India and other top institutes. Recent graduates with incomplete application, they will get interviews, maybe this year also. When exactly should I join sarthi classes if I want to improve my interview skills? Interviewing, so most of our classes do relate to interviews. We will tell you the tips and tricks for the entire math season. Interviewing is just one part of what we do. We have already started. If you are only worried about your interviewing skills, now assuming your ERAS application, personal statement, LOR, other rotations, all that is taken care of. If you're only worried about interviewing skills, we will start in September with formal interview practice. We have questions from all programs, especially in IM. We know the trends, what is asked at what programs, we know the top questions, and we can practice starting September. So September would be the time. 2019 July US University LOR versus recent home country LOR. Which should we choose? If you can pick both, why not pick both? US University LOR 2019 July is a year old, but I think may still be better than home country LOR in general. PEDS LOR advocating for IM. I've answered these questions many times, hard to crack. Okay. PEDS LOR, you've done in PEDS, advocating for IM could work. It depends on what transferable skills you're talking about in that PEDS LOR, and depends on other parts of the profile, depends on how you pitch a PEDS experience while applying for IM. Why did you go for the PEDS experience? So all that will matter. Probably you can work in that LOR, otherwise hard to do. If you have presented a topic at a conference, does it still come under oral presentation? Again, if it's a conference, one of those conferences like I mentioned, probably it can count. Can we do USCE before step 1? Yes, depends on the universities if they take it. Many, and we did a video on this as well, how to apply for electives. If you're talking about electives, you have to look at those university requirements. If you're already a graduate, many clinics, many affiliated residency clinics, residency programs will allow it. If a program showing IMG math rate 30 to 25%, should we apply there? Well, the first question is how many spots, right? 25% of 50 is about 12 IMGs. But 25% of 10 is 2 to 3. It depends on the specialty, depends on whether these IMGs were Caribbean IMGs who may not need visa, things like that. In general, 30 is a good number. You should research the program more. In general, 30 plus, you should be fine. Again, depends on your scores. During 1 month observership in the US, what can we do to obtain a stellar LOR? We've done classes on this. I don't think they're open, but we have classes, etc. In general, how can you make a strong impression? I think you need to focus on clinical skills. You need to focus, obviously observership has that limitation. You need to proactively, you need to, for example, go there at 6 in the morning. Ask attendings, ask residents how you can help them. Take proactive action. Ask to present cases. Study those cases, prepare well in advance, work with residents. So a lot of initiative will be needed, right? Observership in itself is saying, I want to learn swimming by observing. It is very hard. But as long as you take initiative, I think initiative is the key, whether it is in presenting, whether it is in helping the residents, whether it is in asking attendings, what else can you do? Maybe you can research some topics for them. A lot of things can be done. My goal in observership with our students is 15 hours a day. If you can spend there 12 hours a day, morning 6 to evening 6, even observership can count. Is having EAD an advantage? Absolutely, it is. Work authorization probably means you don't need visa. A lot more programs will open up. Jump of 20 in CK compared to step 1, is it significant for a fresh graduate? Absolutely. 20 is a huge jump from maybe 220 to 240, maybe 240 to 260. Yes, any kind of improvement helps. Again, how much is home country medicine residency for getting interviews? Again, I've answered it. It is important. It will help. Applying to 2022 September match make us distinguish with step 1 score in contrast with candidate having just mentioned as pass fail. 2022 match is a long way off. The policies around step 1, I think they have come out with when do you want to take step 1, that will be published as a score versus just pass fail. If you're worried about 2022, probably slightly early, but the point is, if you get a 260 now in step 1, take it, or at least your NBMEs and all show that. Then we worry about 2022 match September, so you're probably talking about 2023 July, long way off. We don't know. I've already answered this question. IMLORs will be helpful to pediatrics and vice versa. It depends on the transferable skills. It depends on why you want these IMLORs for pediatric programs, kind of things. Specialty specific LORs really help. Will Clinic USC be good enough for pediatric program? Again, like I went over the hierarchy, something is better than nothing. If you have no pediatric inpatient experience, no residency hospital experience, if you have clinic LORs that are affiliated with residency programs in the US, yes, absolutely. How can I apply for ASH abstract? You can go to the website. The deadline is September or August 4. What kind of an abstract do they consider? We are working on it as part of our research courses with our students. I think the best for you would be to look up their website. If I want to apply to 2 different specialties, then do I send different PS to different programs? How can it be single PS if you're applying to different specialties? It has to be different PSs. IM is very different than pediatrics, then very different than neurology. So yes, different PS for different specialty specific LORs. Okay. Do programs stick to minimum scores required in step 1 or consider application as a whole? Scores is an important filter. They will first look at the score. Probably if you are an exceptional candidate, they will look at the application as a whole. This is where the program outreach, as we talk with our students, becomes important. Back to the couples match query. If you have a better CV than your partner, you get some interview, would you request respective programs? You can request. It's to request. It is too early. So also look at what programs you are getting the interview at, right? It's too early to say what programs will apply to you, what will you do with your couples match. Can I apply with expired EAD but waiting for the renewal? I don't know. This is probably a visa question. I have no idea. So that would be something that you got to take it up with ECFMG, ERAS, etc. All right, I think those were most of the questions. I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes more. We are coming to the end of the session, but let's see. 2 hands on USC in 2018, strong LORs, worth using them this cycle. Well, I mean, what are your scores? It matters. When you say worth using them, do you have an alternative? If you have an alternative, 2018 is slightly old. We are in 2020. If you have 2018 LORs, they were all pre-COVID. What were you doing in 2019? What were you doing before March of COVID? So if you have no option, I guess you can use it. Will doing 5 to 6 months remote research with a faculty in a university program help in this year's match? Depends on what alternatives you have. 6 months of research without publication may not help you. It also depends on what faculty. Remote research is typically not full time, so if it's 3 hours a day, will not cut it. But if you are getting this opportunity, you have nothing else to do, you've taken care of step 3, you can probably go with it. How do you see the chances for an average double 235 profile, 2014 grad with 3 recent US LORs needing visa? I think the best is to go to the website, use the probability calculator. 2015 graduate needing visa, but you have 3 US LORs, probably stronger. Like I said, program outreach for you will be good. This season is going to be a bit uncertain. Reach out to the programs, make sure your PSCV is very well done. Make sure you're spending 10 to 12 hours in every day researching the programs, reaching out, building your network. I think that'll be useful. In fact, we should probably talk more about it in one of the next seasons on how you build your professional network. Can I do USC before USMLE step 1? A repeat question. The answer is yes, you can do it. Having difficulty in finding observership at this time, how can I secure one if I'm in the US? I think, I don't know where you're finding difficulty. There are many that are on our website, look it up. I think we have some ready to start in Houston, in Chicago. It should be doable. If you cannot travel, that's a different issue. Look for some tele rotations. Reaching residents already working in a program or PD directly is an acceptable way. Depends on what you mean reaching out to the resident, in what sense. Just you are interested doesn't really cut it. You have to show them that you bring something to the table. Interest is, everyone is interested, right? 3,000 applicants will apply to the program. Why you're interested, what do you bring to the table? That is important. Can you talk to us about our classes? We can post that link. Our classes, we have over 50 classes. They span everything you need to know about the match, right from rotations, how do you do well in rotations, how do you get strong LORs, how do you research the programs, how do you do program outreach, applying to the program, interview preparation, all the questions, post-interview communication, virtual interviews, ERAS PSCV, how do you build your CV, how do you write your personal statement. So our classes, I think I'll request one of our team members who's right now there to post link to our classes. But pretty much everything that you need to know about match, we go over it step by step as part of our classes. It is some listing is already there on our website. All classes are recorded, so you probably won't miss anything. There's a lot of catch up to do because the classes have a lot of content. This is a lot of experience from our math students, from our panel, from our journalists. So you are looking at the collective wisdom over the past 7 to 8 years. So a lot of content in our classes. 70% probability. If you are looking at our website, it is absolutely amazing. Let me tell you, the website that we built this probability calculator takes NRMP data from previous years, takes our match students, takes our experience, quantifies all that. 70% is very high in most specialties. Year of graduation, does it matter? Yes, it absolutely matters. Yes, it is a good filter. I did one elective in OB-GYN and IM when I was a student. Now have my goals in IM. Can OB-GYN LOR be useful? It can be, depends on what you've done after that. But electives OB-GYN is always useful. You just need to, like you said, focus on women's health, preventive care. It can be used. ERAS CV allows limited space word for awards. Is there a way to increase it? You know, that's a template. You cannot increase it. Focus on prioritizing your awards, med school awards, recent awards. Forget about high school awards. No, you cannot do highlighting, etc. in ERAS. That's a template. It is what it is for everyone. You cannot choose the order. I think it's a sequential chronological order. Is it good to give USMLE after Indian PG? USMLE is required to match. I don't know what the question is, so you will need to give it. Your website does not work in Ukraine. How do I subscribe to your services? Send us an email. I don't know. Certain countries, I think, block US websites. So let me put it this way. We are a US company. Website is hosted in the US. We have students from over 22 countries, so the website should work. If it doesn't work in the US, I'm sorry, I don't know why. Send us an email and then we'll figure out the enrollment to our programs. What all USC can I have after internship? Well, you mean after graduation? You can still do hands-on internship, externship. It's hands-on externships. You can do observerships. Look up our website. We explain everything. Alright, so hopefully this was useful. We are coming towards the end of the session. So again, I'll close it by saying, this is an uncertain season, but IMG match rate is always been high. It is going higher, more than 53%. You should not give up. Even in the uncertain season, I don't see IMG match rate going down. Whether you are outside US, in US, wherever you are, the story is similar every year. Every year we get students saying, is this season different? Now this season is definitely different because of COVID-19. But if you are already set, you have step 1 and CK and a couple of rotations, I think it may be worth it. Rather than waiting for next year. No one knows what next year bring, whether the COVID will improve, not improve. You will add 12 months to your rotations and all that. You add 12 months of gap, I mean. So last couple of questions, I guess people still have it. Are tele rotations LOR considered this season? Again, this is a new season. This is a different season. Tele rotations are the in thing. Will they be considered? We hope so. We think so. Most of the programs that I've spoken to, I'm aware of, because of our attendings and specialists, they will consider it because that's one option. So yes, tele rotations LOR will be considered. Do we include tele rotations under work experience? Yes, it is just like any other rotation. So yes. If I want internal medicine, should I do pediatrics here in India or IM in India for match? Obviously, IM would be more aligned to, internal medicine here in your home country. So if you have preference, go for IM. If I worked under a US professor in a journal where doctor is an editor, can he write me an LOR? I'm not really sure. If you work with the US professor, so yes, he can talk about the work with you, so get the LOR. Yes. All right, everyone, thank you again for this session. We will post it on YouTube. We will gather questions for the next live session, and hopefully most of your questions were answered. So good luck, and let us know if we can help in any way. Bye everyone.